Since the Netherbrain fell, you and Astarion have seen more of Faerun than you ever thought possible. One night, he tells you that these last 6 months of happy memories are the counterweight to 200 years of misery. The next day, you receive an invitation written in a frail hand, inviting you to a gathering back in the place where your journey together began. A chance to meet with the friends and allies who were by your side in the battle against the Absolute.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Hilarious. You could find work as a jester if you stumble upon a noble with more gold than taste. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. We had tea on his balcony. Tara even deigned to sit on my lap for a while. You know, I think entire forests must have been felled to quench that man's thirst for books. He seems to be doing well. In his element. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? I can imagine. A celebrity in their midst. They must have raised their voices from whispers to faint murmurs. Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? Scratch barks merrily in something like agreement. He seems excited in a way you recognize. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Let's talk. More throw. He snaps the air and wiggles. He's either miming fighting a many-limbed creature or dancing. It's unclear. He is, however, exhausted. He's had plenty of adventures without you. The joy in the Owlbear's eyes is clear. He longs to have a home, and Halsin is perfect.
Gods, I smell like a 70-year-old cinder. Withers yanked me from Avernus with my blade halfway through a Cambion's belly without so much as a chance at washing up. I'll forget all that. By the stars' light and the moon's glow, it's so good to see you, and I've got so much to tell you. The Hell Hunt's no mere duty. It's a thrill. The demons I've disintegrated, the devilkin I've bled, the stories I could share. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Amnitsu at the Styx, the three-tusked Orthon, or the invading Gorestroy? Styx devils, they're called. They usually prefer the frozen wastes of Stygia, but Zariel's got a few of her own for guarding the River of Blood. Fat bastards, all of them. Was on the heels of a Merrigan who'd been stalking the wild hills and sprinted a little too close to the Styx. I felt my mind start to drain, an Amnitsu speciality. Bought just enough time for one of its minions to grab me and dangle me over the river. Could feel the Styx tugging at my memories as I hung over it, eager to drink me dry. But not even the Hell's minions are immune to a circle of death, and I had just enough strength left to conjure one. I leapt free of the minion's grasp, unsheathed my short swords, and rushed at the Amnitsu in a fury. When I'd finished, all that remained was a pair of paltry wings on top a pile of viscera. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the flaming fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. She's kept me on a long leash, if you can believe it. Every target she's set me on's been a demonic intruder. Tenari assassins who slip into Avernus. Armonites that amass near the Styx. My next mark's the most challenging yet. Or so she says. I don't know much more. Only that it's no demon, but a devil. She's playing a game. I don't know what it is or how she plans to win, but I can tell you this much. I'd fall on my own blade and join the blood war in an instant should Zariel's hell-touched fingers stretch towards the coast. And as long as I'm more useful as a warlock, that's not a risk Mazora would take. I wish you'd been there to join in. Oh, to battle together, just like the old days. I suppose that's my way of saying I miss you. Tonight, I toast not just the people we've become, but the people we were. Warriors, winners, saviors. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? An empty throne, thanks to you. The city will not be long in burying it. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organized the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. But I see the flush in your cheeks when I speak of family. Perhaps you mean to start one of your own. Oh, I don't want to watch over a blood match where the duelists call me auntie. You just be careful, Valspawn. All right, Ball child. It is true you are no longer what you were. You have done well for yourself. For all your travels. I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. I find it hard to summon up the trademark pep these days. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. Milil. Though if the lack of song prayers is anything to go by, that name carries less weight than it used to. Apologies. I think I got a mote. Carried away there. You're hardly to blame. You just want to change up the music, I wager. You know?
You're bloody right. It is an honor.
Finally! The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want? Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
This seems pretty red, but... no, not even close.
We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore the sticky tyrant from the sky? A powerful pairing. If love cannot cure a vampire, what can? Oh, Boo suggests a variety of arcane remedies, but love is the most potent, and by far the easiest to pronounce. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap, so you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Withers can pluck wine from all over the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
Ah, it's the star of the show. Our humble protagonist who forsook Baal to save the city. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Busy as ever. Better that than the reverse, wouldn't you say? Every major publishing house on the Sword Coast has been vying for my upcoming book on the subject of our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? now. You don't want to be seen as a mere sequel. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you could just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. That was more than worth the wait? Oh, I suppose you didn't mean that literally. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. It is, truly, though a more complex, evolving beast than I could ever have anticipated. I spoke often of balance before. Only now do I realize that balance is no simple, fixed thing. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but it is a thrilling sort of chaos. It thrives in ways I could never have dreamed of. As am I. I may age more slowly than most, but I do believe I've gained some new laughter lines of late. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. More than a few, I should think. At least I shall be equipped to explain the birds and the bees when the time comes. But I hope that time is quite a while off yet. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather
unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course! Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? And I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Oh, imagine their faces. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demanded. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. A bit. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. We've spilled blood, gained a foothold in the astral, but still we need allies. And one beyond reckoning has made itself known. Zerith Minyaragith. Not a what, but a who. The immortal god king of the Githzerai. An exiled people. Once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. And to you, always. Now go, mingle a bit. That's the word, right? Mingle. But don't think you've seen the last of me. I'll be back. Sure as the comet will rise. Sure as Kalir will forever circle the sun.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific. I surrendered the crown of Karsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. Ah, so you still remember our little lesson. It was quite something to share such a moment with you, though it vanished all too quickly. You were, of course, indulging me in submitting to such a lesson. Teaching you was hardly an effort at all. Not like my present cohort of apprentices. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake.
The cheek of them! Nothing a well-placed swipe from Tara can't fix, though.
And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned?
I must be careful to not overindulge tonight, lest I lose control and slip into bear form.
And I couldn't be happier for you. A fitting reward for the sacrifices you made in getting here. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'll be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. I don't see why not. 2 heads are better than 1. Unless you're dealing with an Etin. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. My apologies, Tara. That would be our tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
Why are you looking at me so? I'm enjoying myself. You look upon fun, Jaheira. The man just makes friends wherever he goes, no? Ah, fine then. I shall keep him from jumping back through a portal in the morning. Or perhaps follow him and give the Zentarim a talking to, if my head is sore enough.
And how have our friends fared without us? I'm glad. It would be so easy to go through everything we did and come out the other side bitter and twisted. But they deserve happiness. We all do. And I will forever be grateful to have found it with you. I do feel a little bad keeping you all to myself. After all, I get to see you every night. Go on, go mingle. Enjoy your time with the others. Bless them with your presence. I'll be here when you're ready. I'll always be here, my love.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.